In this lesson, we're going to be doing Cramer's rule on a 3x3 matrix. So if you've already learned how to do this on a 2x2 matrix, then the process is pretty much exactly the same. You just need to know how to do the determinant, but you must make sure that you know how to do the determinant on a 3x3 matrix. If you don't yet know how to do that, then please go watch my video on how to find the determinant of a 3x3 matrix. We will be doing it in this lesson, so maybe you can just stick around and you might be able to pick up how it all works just in this lesson. So here we have a 3-variable system, x, y, and z. Okay, we can see all the x, y's, and z. Now, when we did the 2x2 Cramer's rule, remember what we said? We said that make sure all of the x's, oh, that's not an x, but that's fine. Make sure all the x's are like above each other, and then the y's, don't worry, I'll move this equation up a little bit now, you'll see what I mean, but just make sure that it's in order. So x's first, then y's, and then z's, and then all the other numbers must be on the other side. That's important. So that's your first step. So then what you're going to do is you're going to convert that into a matrix. So the x's first, then the y's, and then the z's. So for this x, it's a -1. For this one, for that y, it's a 1. For this one here, it's a 6. Then it's a -2. Then a -5. Then a -1. Now for this one, there is no x, so you just put a 0. Then for the y, it's a -3. And then for the z, it's a 5. So there's what we've done over there. Then I'm just going to put a little line here, and I'm going to put these 3 numbers over here. So -9. I'm sorry, that was +9, Kevin. +9, -9, -1. Okay, so if you remember what we did in the 2x2 Cramer's rule, you would know that we need to go get a couple of determinants now. So we need to get the determinant of d, which is just the original, which is just this one that we've done over here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a d over there. Then we need to go get determinant x, determinant y, but now that we're doing 3 variables, we even have to go and get determinant z. So let's start with the original determinant. So what that means is just go get the determinant of all of that. So this is where you need to remember how to do a determinant of a 3x3 matrix. If you maybe forgot, what you do is the following. You take this first number, which is -1, and then what you do is you block out. You put a line there and you put a line there, and then you go get the 2x2 determinant of these numbers over here. So that's going to be multiplying those two together, which is -25. Then you subtract, and then you multiply those two together, which is +3. So that's how we do a 2x2 determinant. And that's going to give us, well, actually, we need to carry on. There's still more steps. So then what you do is you say minus, and then you take this number, which is a 1. And then what you do is you block off that, and you block off that. And so the numbers that are left would be the -2, the 0, the 5, and the -1. And so you're going to go get the 2x2 determinant of that. So you're going to multiply these two together first, which is -10, minus, or subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two together, which would be 0. Then you're going to say plus. Now what are we going to plus? Now you're going to plus this number. So you're going to put a line through that, but first just say 6. And then you're going to do the determinant of the numbers that are left over. So that's going to be these 2 numbers over here, which is +6, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these 2 together, but that's just going to be 0. So now what you do is you just go add and put all this together. So it's going to be -1 multiplied by -28, take away 1, multiplied by -10, plus 6 times 6. And so that's going to be 28 plus 10 plus 36, and that's going to give us 74. Okay, so we have the determinant. I'm just going to write it up here. D was 74. So the next thing we're going to go work out now is dx. So it's the determinant with x. So how does that work? Well, if you can remember the Cramer's rule method when we did a 2x2, then you are going to use the exact same technique for this one. So what we do is we take the x column, which is this one here, and we replace it with these numbers over here. Okay, so I'm not going to change this because I want to remember what the original looks like, but I'm gonna make a new one over here. So this is going to be our dx determinant, dx, and so we're going to have a 9, -9, -1. You see I've replaced all of this with these numbers over here, and then the rest stays the same. So 1, -5, -3, 6, -1, and 5. And by the way, we are going to do one more example after this. So we're going to be doing 2 examples in total. So now what you're going to do is you're now going to go take the determinant of this, just like you normally would for a 3 by 3. So that's going to give us 9, because that's a 9. And then you put a line and a line. And then what you do is the determinant of these numbers over here. So that's going to be -25, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two numbers together, which is 3. And then you're going to say minus. So all of this is just doing 3 by 3 determinants. So now you're going to take this number, and you're going to put a line, and then you're going to use the determinant of the numbers that are left over. So that's going to be -45, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two together, which is a +1. Then you're going to say plus. If you're confused right now, then you just need to go watch a video where you learn how to do a 3 by 3 determinant. Then you're going to say +6, and then you're going to block that off, and then you're going to multiply these two together, so that's 27, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two together, which is 5. To save space, I'm just going to go put all of this on my calculator and just get the answer in one step. And that gives us -74. So that's our dx, -74. Okay, now we need to go get dy. So now we're just going to repeat the process. So I can erase all of this because we won't need to use this again. I'll leave this a little bit longer just for those of you that are still checking that out. So now what we need to do is go do the dy determinant. So I always come back to the original. That's why I never erased that one. So what you do now is you take the y column and you're going to replace that with these numbers over here. But everything else stays the same. So if we make a dy matrix, it's going to be -1, 9, 6, -2, -9, -1, 0, -1, and 5. So I've just replaced this column with these numbers over here. And now we're going to go do the same old getting the determinant. Okay. So once again, we're going to start with -1, because that's this number. Then you're going to put a line through all of that. And then you're just going to do the determinant of the numbers that are left over. So that's going to be -9 times 5, which is -45, subtract. And then what you're going to do is you are going to multiply these two numbers together, which is 1. And so that's going to give us -1 multiplied by -40. Oh, sorry, let's just carry on. Then we're going to say minus. Now we move on to this number. So we're going to say 9, and then we're going to block off, and whatever numbers are left, you get the determinant. So that's going to be -2 times 5, which is -10, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two numbers, which is 0. There we go. Then you're going to say plus. And then that's going to be this number now. So you're going to say 6, and then you're going to block off. And so that's going to be -2 times -1, which is 2, and then subtract, and then these two, which will just be 0. There we go. And so now you're just going to go work that all out. So I'm just going to do it all in one step on the calculator. And so that's going to be 148. So dy is 148. It's not always like this, but you sort of could get a very good idea that you're doing the right thing when these are all multiples of each other. 74, 148, that's exactly double. So not always, but it can be a good indicator. Okay, so now we need to just go do dz. So we need the determinant of the z determinant. See, so it's exactly the same as a 2 by 2 Cramer's rule, but we just have to do it 3 times now, because we all have 75 hours in a day. So now we're going to go do the dz determinant. So as per normal, there's no weird catches. You're literally just going to replace all the z column now. You're going to replace it with this over here. So let's go write it out. So it's going to, and then everything else stays the same. So it's going to be -1. That's going to be a bit small. Kevin. -1, 1, 9, -2, -5, -9, 0, -3, -1. Okay, so you see what I did? I just replaced these two. I replaced this one with that. Right, now you're just going to go do the determinant again. So that's going to be, you start with this number, which is -1, then you block off that, and you block off that, and then you multiply, which would be 5, subtract, and then you multiply this way, so that's 27. Then you say minus. It's just the way 3 by 3 determinants work. You just got to remember it. So now we're minusing this number, so that's a 1, and then in brackets, block off that line and that line. Please go watch 3 by 3 determinants if this is making you confused. And then, so you multiply those two, because I'm assuming that you know that. That's why I'm not going super slow like that. And then we're going to go plus 9, plus 9. So we block off, and then you do that determinant, which is 6, take away negative 5 times 0, which is 0. Okay, going to go ahead, type that all in on the calculator. Imagine I was Russian. Plus 9 times 6, and that's 74. So it's giving us a nice answer. The reason I say that is because it's a multiple of these numbers. So your dz is 74. Okay, so now what you do is to work out your x value, you just say dx over d. To work out your y, you say dy over d. And to work out your z, you say dz. This Cramer person was a genius. Like, how the hell do you come up with this stuff? I still don't understand how any of this stuff was invented. Like, yeah, I've got my theories, but I'm not going to go there. So dz divided by d. All I'm saying is I think they were smoking some good stuff. So to work out x, we're just going to say dx, which is negative 74, sorry. And then d is 74. And so that's going to give us negative 1. Then y is going to be dy over d, so that's going to be 148. Divided by 74, which is 2, and then z is going to be 74 divided by 74, which is 1. So then you must give the final answer. So the final answer would be x is negative 1, y is 2, and z is 1. There we go. Let's do another example. I mean, if you understand the process, then please, by all means, you can obviously just go to the next video. But if you're still feeling a bit like, then I've got one more example for us. How fun. Like, this is literally the best party you've ever been to. Don't lie. Like, you could be doing so many other things right now, but you just love maths. I know. So I'm talking so much nonsense. Okay, so remember, step 1, you want to get your D matrix. So the way that you do that is you make sure the x's are all aligned, the y's are all. So I don't mean that the y's must be above all the y's. I mean that x's first, then y's, and then z's, okay? And then all the other numbers on the other side. So let's go turn that into a matrix now, and this is just the D matrix. So you do all the x's first. So you take the numbers in the front, the coefficients, so -1, -3, and 1. Remember, there's a little 1 there. Then the y's, so 4, 3. Now don't put -5, that's a z. So Kevin, where's the y's, bro? What's going on here? Guys, if there's no y's, just put a 0. That's all you do, okay? For the z's or the z's, -1, 6, -5. And then you just put the other numbers. So 1, -24, 21. So it's very important that you first write your equations like this. Like, for example, if one of them was like that, for example, you would first need to take this z over to the other side. That's important. Right, so now we need to go do all this fun stuff of getting all the different derivatives. Not derivatives, what am I talking about? That's calculus, by the way, for people who are maybe going to do calculus. You'll hear the word derivative a lot. So yeah, fun fact. Okay, so determinant is, now I'm feeling self-conscious. I feel like I've been saying derivative this whole video. I hope not. Okay, so, right. So now what we're going to do, remember, this is your x column, this is your y column, this is your z column. So let's go work out the determinant. So that's just using all of these now and just using the normal determinant method. So you start with this number, which is -1. And then, so you block off that and you block off that. And so then you multiply those two together, which is -15. Subtract, and then you do that over there, which is 6 times 0, which is just 0. Then what you do is you say minus, okay, and then it's just minus this number. As I said, if you're confused about this, it's just the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix. So now we're going to block off that, and we're going to block off that. You're going to multiply those two numbers together. So it's always the numbers, it's always the first diagonal like that, and then the second diagonal like that, of the numbers that are still visible after you've blocked all the others off. So that's going to be 15, and then take away, and then you're going to multiply these two together, which is just 6. Then you're going to say plus y. Well, that's just the way 3 by 3 determinants work. Minus 1, because that's that number. Then block that number off. And then you're going to multiply these two together, which is going to be 0, subtract, and then you're going to multiply these two together, which is just 3. Then you go ahead, I'm just going to type it all in on my calculator, just like that. And that should be giving us negative 18. So we can write that up here. Derivative is negative, not derivative, determinant is negative 18. I've definitely said that a few times in this video. I really hope I haven't. Okay, so now we need to go get the x determinant. So let's check. So, okay, so we can take all of this away for now. So now remember how to get the x determinant. What you do is you take the x column and you replace it with all of these. But don't erase this here, because then you're going to forget what your original matrix looks like. So just leave this one, okay? And then just make a new one. So this is the dx one now. So this is going to be 1, negative 24, 21. And then everything else is the same. 4, 3, 0, minus 1, 6, minus 5, like that. So now you're going to go get the determinant of that. Okay, and by now we should be so good at doing determinants. So once again, we start with the first number, so that's a 1. Then that means you block the line down, block the line across, and whatever's left over, you get the determinant of that. So it's negative 15, take away 6 times 0, which is 0. Then you say minus. Then you move on to the next number, which is a 4. And then you open up a bracket, so block this off, block this off. So you're going to multiply these numbers now, this diagonal. So negative 24 times negative 5 is going to give you a positive 120. And then you're going to multiply these two together. What's that? 126, I think. Yes, but it's going to be negative 126. And then you say plus. Then what do we plus? We plus this number. So that's a negative 1. And then you just block off that line and block off that line. And so you multiply those two together, which is 0. Then you say subtract. And then you multiply those two together, which would be 63. Okay, and so if we had to go work that all out, we get 72. Now that makes me happy because I know that 72 is a multiple of 18. So it makes sense. I mean, not always, but like it makes sense that the teachers would design questions that give you answers like 5, minus 1, 3. I mean, you do get some teachers where the answer's like 1 over 12. It's like, really, bro? Like, couldn't you have just made it a bit easier? But anyways, so dx is 72. Now we just go repeat the process for dy and for dz. So for dy, you replace the y column with these numbers over here, and then everything else stays the same. So it's going to be negative 1, negative 3, 1. Now we replace it, so 1, negative 24, 21, negative 1, 6, negative 5, and so then we make a little matrix, and then we just go to do the determinant of that. So this will be our y determinant. It's called the dy. Okay, so it starts with negative 1, which is this number. Then you block everything else off, and then you just do the determinant of that. So that's 24 times 5, which is 120. It will be positive because two negatives make a positive. And then you're going to say subtract. Then you're going to multiply these two together, which is 126. Okay, then you're going to say, let's just clean up here. Then you're going to say minus whatever this number is, that's 1, and you're going to block that number, and then you're going to do the determinant of that. So you're going to multiply those two together, which is 15, and you're going to say take away, and then 6 multiplied by 1 is 6. Then you're going to say plus, and then you're going to take this number, which is negative 1, and then you're just going to do the determinant of whatever's left over. So that's going to be those two multiplied, so that's negative 63. I'm running out of space. So we said negative 63, and then subtract these two together, which is negative 24. So that's going to be two negatives next to each other. Don't worry about that. So it does become a positive. I'm not saying you must ignore that, but the calculator will handle it for you. I'm just typing this all in on the calculator, and that gives 36. Okay, so dy is 36, which is also a multiple of 18, which is it makes me think some things are going well. So now we need to go find the z determinant. Yo, these questions take long, eh? Okay, so now we're going to go do the z determinant. So that means you replace the whole Z column with these numbers over here. Like, how did this Cramer person come up with this stuff? It is mad. Like, I don't know. I don't know how they did it. Like, you're not going to just go walking one day and suddenly be like, that's how you can solve the system. Like, I don't know how these people did it. It blows my mind. Like, I don't even know how to design a door handle for a car, let alone building a bloody aeroplane. Like, how do these people do these things? Like, if you told me go design a door handle, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, go build a toilet roll holder. I don't even know how to do that. I mean, these people are on another level, eh? Okay, so we're going to go do, or like, how did computers get invented? Like, you get different parts of the computer, like the RAM but I mean, if you've ever opened a computer and you look at like the motherboard part with all those like little silver shiny parts and like, come on, man. How, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. How these people came up with this stuff. It blows my mind. You know, like, I actually don't want to be like those people. Like, I'm happy to actually just go walk outside in nature and like just go enjoy the sunlight and trees and get on my bicycle and go cycle or go for a run, go do some gym. Like, that's a simple life for me. I'm not into the whole, I'm going to design a computer. I mean, but look, there are many people who love that, but not for me. For me, that's just, it's just, I guess it's not meant for me. Like, I just can't understand that stuff. It's crazy. Anyways, so moving on. So we now need to go get a Z determinant, okay? So to do that, as I said, we are going to replace all of these numbers with these numbers, because I mean, some people love that type of stuff. Like, I've met people when I was studying engineering, like, some people really, like, that is their mission in life. Like, they're gonna like design, like, they are the Elon Musks. They're gonna take rockets to space. To be honest, but for me, I don't want to do that. I'm happy just teaching you guys like this, and then I'll go outdoors later and go hike in nature, and do some cool stuff like that. That's cool for me. Okay, so let's quickly, so we're going to replace all of these with these numbers. I feel like I've said that 3 times now. Sorry, let's carry on. Focus, Kevin, focus. So we're going to keep everything the same, -1, -3, 1. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing this stuff. Teaching you guys, this is so cool for me. 21, like, I'll do this for the rest of my life. I love it. So 1, -24, 21. So there, we've replaced the Z column. Now we're going to go work out the determinant, okay? And you know how to work out the determinant by now. It's something we've been doing so many times. So we're going to start with this number here, -1, and then you're going to block this, and you're going to block this, and then you're going to use the determinant. Like, I studied engineering, right? But I never ever went into the field. Like, it just wasn't for me. I studied it, I finished my degree, and then I was going to maybe do my master's. Okay, so I graduated in South Africa in 2015, and that was in November, because remember, in South Africa, our year is different to in America. We finish the year in November, whereas in America, you finish in like June or somewhere around there. So I finished in November, and then I was maybe going to go do my master's. It was either going to be at MIT, Berkeley, Harvard, or there was another one, I can't remember. And so that would have started the following year in like August, September. So I had a few months here in South Africa to mess around and to try some stuff. And then I decided I'm going to just start teaching people maths and science, like from home. You know, they would come to my house or they'd come to my office. And I actually just fell in love with that. And then a few years after that, I decided, you know what, I'm actually going to start doing videos. I'm not just going to teach people in person. I'm actually going to make videos. And the rest is history. Like, that is just what I absolutely love. I will never go do, well, I don't think I'll ever go do my master's, PhD. Not interested. Like, I'm just super happy doing this with you guys. Okay, so we're busy doing the determinant. And so we're going to multiply these two together. So that's going to be 63. Then we're going to say minus, and then we're going to multiply these two together, but that's just going to be 0, because anything times 0 is 0. And then what next? Okay, then we're going to say minus, and then we're going to say 4, because that's that number. We're then going to block that number off, and then we're going to do, we're going to multiply these two together, so that's negative 63, subtract, and then we're going to multiply these two together, which is negative 24, and then we're going to say plus 1 because of this number here, and then we're going to cross that out, and then we're going to do the determinant of this, so that's negative 3 times 0, which is 0, subtract. We're then going to do this times here, which is 3 times 1, which is 3. That's it. We're going to go ahead, we're going to type that all in on the calculator, and that is going to give us 90, okay? So the determinant of the z is 90. So I'm going to fill that in over here. dz is equal to 90. Okay, so now to work out x, y, and z, we're going to say x equals to dx over d. To work out y, you're going to say dy over d. And to work out z, you're going to say dz over d. So x would be dx, which is 72, divided by d, which is negative 18, and that's going to give us negative 4. And then to work out y, you're going to say dy divided by d, and so that's going to give 36 divided by negative 18, and that's going to give negative 2. And now to work out z, or z, whatever you want to call it, we're going to say that is going to be equal to dz over d, and so that's going to be equal to, where's dz? 90 divided by negative 18, and that is going to give us negative 5. And so there we have it. So we got our final answer. It's such a mess, isn't it? So our final answer is going to be negative 4 for x, negative 2 for y, and negative 5 for z. There we go.